welcome to the stage Hailei Call, Cory John Snide, Christopher Gurr, and Jessica Hendy. How you guys doing?
Great.
Thank you for coming in.
For having us.
We're so excited to have you here. Jessica, you actually play Grizabella, correct?
Yeah, well, technically, I am the understudy, but
Okay.
I've played her many times so far in this
More
run.
than once, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So we all know that Grizabella sings the quintessential, let's say, song from Cats, the one everybody knows, which is, of course, Memory.
Yes.
And I might happen to have this microphone just sitting here. Would you be willing to sing it for us here?
Oh my God.
We want her to sing it. Yeah.
I'll hold your tea if you want.
Don't make me sing.
Please don't make me.
I'm totally gonna do it.
Yeah. Wow, what time is it? This is good.
Okay. Hi, guys. Happy Google'ween, right? Memory, turn your face to the moonlight. Let your memory lead you. Open up, enter in. If you find there the meaning of what happiness is, then a new life will begin. Memory, all alone in the moonlight, I can smile at the old days. I was beautiful then. I remember the time I knew what happiness was. Let the memory live again. Burned out ends of the smoky days, the stale, cold smell of morning. The street lamp dies, another night is over, another day is dawning. Daylight, I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in. When the dawn comes, tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Sunlight through the trees in summer, endless masquerading like a flower as the dawn is breaking. The memory is fading. Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memory of my days. be Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Option up, baby. Option up.
I got goosebumps on my legs.
Oh, good.
Like all down my legs.
I did
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, so exciting, so fabulous. Thank you again.
I love singing that song.
We loved having you sing it, 100%. So just to give everyone a little history about Cats, it originally debuted in 1981 at the New London Theatre in London's West End to great success. The show then made its debut on Broadway the following year, 1982, at the Winter Garden Theatre, and it held the record as both London and Broadway's longest-running musical until 2006, which is 25 years after its premiere. I mean, it's a huge, huge record holder. So how do you guys feel as a cast about being a part of such a prolific show? Go ahead, anyone, hop in.
Is more of a legacy in a family than I ever expected it to be. There were people that were brought into the creative process for this revival that have been around since day one, and they knew every cat like it were their children, and it's crazy. When I first saw the show, I was like, what is this show about? Like, what is it about? And then you meet the people who have been there from day one, and they know what it's about. They have backstories. They've developed such a love and such a creative, intrinsic meaning to everything about it that is so beyond anything I ever imagined.
And not just the creators, the audience. That's what I hadn't clocked.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of intellectually knew, oh, there will be a lot of people who have seen Cats before who have memories about cats. But I didn't get how important emotionally it was to so many people. I mean, the people who come and talk to us afterwards at the stage door to wait for autographs, I mean, there are a lot of, this is my daughter, this was my first Broadway show, I've now brought my daughter to my first Broadway show, or I saw this 36 times at the Winter Garden, or, and this is the thing I love, is that I'll meet a little boy or little girl, 9 years old, who their parents will say, they just played your role last summer in summer camp. And that's the one that just makes me go, crack, it's so great, because I was that kid when I was 9, and to be able to go to watch that roll up on a Broadway stage and have that sort of a history with a piece is very unusual.
Yeah, I mean, Memory was the first song I ever learned to play on the piano, and then to be able to actually sing that song on a Broadway show is unbelievable. If I could have told that little 8-year-old girl that learn this song, but fast forward, you're going to be singing it on Broadway, I would have never believed that.
I told people, and this is absolutely true, that when I did my audition for the role that I'm doing, I basically did exactly what I used to do as a 14-year-old boy alone in my bedroom when I used to sing along with the Cast album. Because Gus, who's this ancient cat, I've just always had a thing about character parts and the older characters. And even back then, he was my guy. When I listened to the whole album, I went, oh, I get him, I get him. And then literally my first audition was essentially what I had done at that age.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So three of you are from the cast, but Hailei here is actually the makeup artist from the show. And in another treat, because we don't have enough for you on this Google Ween, Hailei's going to be doing some makeup for us from the actual show right here on stage, so you guys get to see it. So can we bring up our volunteer, please?
Yeah.
Here she comes.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, right.
Oh, she's got the ears and everything.
Yeah.
She's so
She's halfway
prepared.
there. She's halfway there.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just do the basic things that make you a cat. Every single one of the cats have different colors in their costume and different colors in their plots. So they are all very different in that way. But one thing that really keeps them, all feline, are the eyes, the mouth, and the nose. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just do a demo on that, and then we have a fun little treat for the end, too. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, we do our own makeup.
Yes.
We have our designers and people that come by and make sure we're doing everything correctly, but every night we do all of our own makeup.
And that's standard in theater. In opera, it's not. Everyone has their makeup done in opera, but in theater and in ballet, both you do your own makeup.
Yeah.
How long did that take you to learn how to do that? Because some of those cats,
Some of them are really complicated. You've got a very
we
complicated.
didn't look like cats at first.
No, we didn't.
We looked like...
I play a twin in the show, so me and my twin have one of the more complicated plots. When I first learned it, it took me about an hour and 45 minutes, and I have now gotten it down to about 30. But that is me, like, throwing it on, like, slapping it on my face.
I would say it's like about 40 minutes for me.
Yeah.
What about you? He's like, he's the first one out of the theater. Quick.
Well, I play 3 cats. I have a cat, Peter, who you would never recognize. He's just a random cat in the opening number, and then he goes away. And then I play Busterford Jones, this big, fat, black and white cat, and then I play Gus, the old theater cat. And they kept the makeup plots pretty simple for those 3 because I have to change them. I have to pretty much do a wipe down and restart.
oh,
But I'm always sort of the Mr. Potato Head of any show that I'm in because I'm kind of neutral, right? You can add and subtract things to me. So my whole career has been quick changes all my life. That's been true. So I'm very fast at the makeup. It takes me maybe 6
minutes?
to get into my first one.
Really?
What?
And I know.
It takes me
6
longer
minutes?
than that to do this.
What?
This is just like I look normal in
Yeah.
the morning.
It shrunk. Yeah, it started at about 40, right, when I
I'd
first
say
learned
about
it.
40,
About
yeah.
40 for each plot.
Okay.
And then it went chuk, 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 chuk,
My
over
mind
the-
just exploded.
And now I actually have to slow down some of the makeups because the wardrobe people aren't ready for me when I come in to change the costume. But that's how you want it to be.
Yeah.
He's a rock star.
When you're a character man, that's just the nature of the business. You change a lot.
So speaking of the fact that you play 3 different cats,
Yes.
you all played different cats at some point. Is that correct?
Well,
Well, here, break it down
So
for me.
my onstage role is named Cory Pat. He's a twin, and that's why I play 8 times a week. But I do cover other cats. I cover
Okay.
the magical Mr. Mistoffelees as well.
Okay, so I was confused.
and is that your
about
only
when I
other
saw
cover?
that.
That's my only other.
So you know both those makeup plots.
Yes, I
and
know
then
both.
you know how many makeup plots?
1.
Well, one you can do in your
You know
sleep,
Jelly
but
Laura,
I've seen you
too.
do another one because you were on as Jelly.
One time I had to do
She was on with me.
I was on with him. I
Oh,
sang
okay.
Gus the Theater Cat, and that was a very surprising day for me.
Talk about a rock star, though. She knocked it out of the ballpark. It was pretty great.
So, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so speaking of the different makeup plots, there are some cats who have, I mean, looking at a normal cat's face, everyone has different fur markings and stuff like that. So there are some cats like Jelly Laura who has color, and then the eyes, nose, and mouth. My cat has fur. I don't have a collar because I'm a feral cat, so I have fur lines that I have to do all along my neck. I have fur lines that have to match my wig so that way it all looks very seamless.
Very
and I have
complicated.
specific eyes and mouth markings and things like that.
And your plot has to match your twins' plot because those are designs. When they put their faces together, it actually works together as a total. It's a cool makeup
that's
plot.
neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very cool
Yeah.
plot.
I actually really liked the twins. They were like one of the first cats out on stage, weren't
They're
they?
my
are
favorites. I watch the
the
twins hard every night. They're my favorites.
They're very, I don't know what the term I'm looking for. Reactionary?
Yeah, and they're psychic.
They're psychic?
They're very plugged into each other because they're psychic.
Yes.
Wait, they're literally psychic?
Yeah, they're
Literally.
In the show?
In the
Yeah.
show.
show.
Oh.
That's part of the lore of the show.
They always know when Grizz comes out first.
They know everything
feel
before. And, they're a channel through which old Deuteronomy, the leader of the tribe, both receives information and sends information. Yeah, if you could watch only them through the whole show and you'd get the whole show.
That's really cool. So speaking of the different roles that you play, can you tell us a little bit about the main role that you play? You specifically, and then each of your roles as well.
Well, the main role is Gus. Gus is the old theater cat. And that's a tradition that theater stage doors and theaters would have cats to keep the rats away. That's a real deal. But he is this amalgamation of what it would be to be a theater cat and also if a cat were an actor. So basically, he's this at the very end of his life and certainly at the end, way beyond the end of his career, actor. And that's very easy for me to imagine what that's going to be like. And in the best possible way, when I was in college, I worked at a theater as a dresser, as a wardrobe person for a really, really old Irish actor who was at the very end of his career, kind of beyond the end of his career. So my Gus is based very much on Brendan Burke, this old Irish actor.
That's really cool.
And it happens at the top of Act 2, and it's one of the quieter, at least the first half of it, is one of the quieter moments and clearest lines of narrative that happens.
Yeah.
You know, after Act 1, top of Act 2, Deuteronomy does Moments of Happiness, which is this beautiful, very deep poem, and then the Gus moment happens, and it's on the quiet side for our show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you play understudy for Grizabella,
I play
right?
Grizabella, yes. And Grizabella, she's a fallen star of the tribe. She was the cat that had everything and was the most popular and the most beautiful and the one that everyone wanted to be. But she made some bad decisions over and over and over again to the point where she is not accepted in the tribe anymore. In fact, she's actively shunned from the tribe, and she's close to the end of her life as well. But that is a result of very hard living that she's had to do. So her journey is about just trying to be accepted through the other cats. But the way because it is poetry, it's, you know, up to the actor to find your arc and your journey in the show. And for me, my Grizabella is about owning my life and accepting the bad choices I've made, and then realizing that I can forgive myself and still go on. And once I can forgive myself and just say, you're right, I did lead this life. I did. And once I can do that, then I think that the cats can then see a change in me. And that's where I think the beauty of the show is it's about forgiveness. Not just someone else, but forgiving yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time you've played Grizabella, is it?
It's not. I actually did the previous Broadway production at the Winter Garden Theater. I came into the show right before it closed, and I was the youngest Grizabella at the Winter Garden.
Really?
I was.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was my Broadway debut. And so to then be cast, I never, ever dreamed I would be cast in the revival. But everything, just when everything falls into place, everything fell into place, and I was cast in the revival. And it's like the best surprise I've ever had. And I'm just like, I couldn't be happier to be a part of the show. And because I'm a little older now than I was when I played Grizabella before, I have like much more life to bring to the character. So I'm so grateful I get to play her again after I've lived.
And what's that like? What's that like playing a character like the second time around? You said that you have so much more to bring to it. Is it a different process than finding the character the first time for yourself?
I think so for me because you know, I was really young. And when I played Grizabella before, so I was purely just going from the text and the emotion that I would feel and any kind of research that I could find through the show. But now I can bring my own life story to the character. You know, I'm a mom.
Right.
I'm a single mom, and I've gone through some hard times. I've gone through some great times. I know what it's like to struggle. And so I can bring those qualities into the character that I didn't have before. And so it just adds so much more, and it's so much fun.
I mean, it was fun to watch.
It's so fun to be an actor. I love it. If I wasn't an actor, I'd want to work at Google. Because
right?
This is amazing.
Yes. It's pretty amazing.
So Cory, why don't you tell us more about your character, and then tell us what else you do for the cast.
So Cory and my twin's name is Tantum. We are, as Chris said, we are often the reference point. So whenever we can sense Grizabella's arrival at the junkyard, we are the first to step out, and we can sense her, and we warn the other tribe members about her. She comes back, we warn again. There's the arrival of our villain cat, Macavity. We are the first to sense that arrival as well. And so I find that it is very fun to be the cat who's always one step ahead. And funnily enough, I graduated from college with the girl who I'm playing as my
Juilliard.
twin. Yeah, we graduated from college together. We spent
Drop that
4
real quick.
years partnering together, and so we know each other like the back of our hands, so we kind of feel telepathic just naturally, but then we've developed ways to try and put that out physically, like we move in sync always. Whenever we put a paw down,
It's so beautiful.
paw
It's
down
one of the prettiest
together.
things I've ever seen.
So we tried to do moving in total synchronicity, and then in other times trying to move where we can like weave in and out of each other and know exactly where the other twin's gonna be, and all of our partnering is very woven together like that. So I think that was what's been most fun about playing that.
I also think that, if I could just chime in with your
Please,
character,
please.
because of your psychic ability, you and Tantum, which is the twin's name, set the tone for each scene because you know what's coming. So I think a lot of the cats, especially in the ball, which is the big dance number at the end of Act 1, and of course anytime Grizabella enters, but also in the top of Act 2 with Old Deuteronomy, Moments of Happiness, you set the tone for the scene because you are like one step ahead of all the cats.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree, totally. So that's been really, really fun to develop that into the character. Another role that I play in the show, do you mean Mistoffelees or?
Yeah.
Both,
Or
either.
dance.
Okay, we'll talk about Mistoffelees
Yeah,
first. I
talk about
cover that
Mistoffelees.
role. He's the magical cat. And so what is really, really cool about, I don't know if this was in the original production, but in this revival, the choreographer set up that Mistoffelees controls the lights of the show. So there are a few moments where you'll see him gesture out to the audience, and then festoon lights in the whole audience light up. And then he'll point to a spot on the floor and a light will grow from there. In one of your numbers, Bustopher Jones, we set up a little, not dream sequence, but sort of like a dream sequence where Bustopher Jones, who's a cat who owns all these clubs and he's just like the most posh man in the world, he is showing the kittens around his neighborhood and where he hangs out, and so Mistoffelees gets to light up that club, he gets to extinguish that light, and it's really, really fun in that way. But then my other role that I play in the show is dance captain, which means that I am involved with knowing every detail about all of the dance movements and all of the formations, and I make what's known as the show's Bible, where I have all charts of where every cat stands in every moment of every number. And so my job is to maintain the energy and maintain the life of the show. It's my job to teach new people and replacements the show.
Give notes.
Do you
Give
have
notes,
I was
yeah.
going to ask you, and I don't know the answer to this question, although I think I know. Do you use StageRight, or do you have a physical print book?
I use StageRight, which is an app that was developed where I can create little symbols for each character, and then they have a blueprint of what the stage is, and then I can just go in and bloop, there goes, that's where Grizabella stands in that moment, that's where Gus is in that moment, that's where Mistoffelees is in that moment. So that if it were to ever come that we were to set a tour or another revival and it wanted to be that exact one, I could just flip through the Bible and be like, okay, here's where everyone stands.
Yeah.
So you actually, in this version, there's a lot of similar things, is what I read, to the original Broadway version. It's the same costumes. Is it the same set as well?
Pretty much, yeah. John Napier is the original designer, and he designed ours. And if you come to see the show, you'll see that there's a license plate, or a car tag, as we would say at home in Georgia, on the back of a car, and it says NAP 70, and that's for John Napier, and this is the 70th iteration of that set for
Wow.
John. But some things are universally true of all the cat sets, but they also change depending on if it's a touring set or if
Yeah.
it was the original, which was in the round.
And it just depends on the theater. They really like want to create that sense of the junkyard. So like the set is here, but then it like goes out into the house. Like we lost the boxes in the Neil Simon Theater, and we made the boxes part of the junkyard where the cats can crawl up into and
Right.
around.
Yeah, I found that to be really, really interesting because maybe it's because you're not humans on stage, you're cats, but I felt like once the cats occupied the space, then it felt like the image was complete.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
like it was like, okay, it's just a junkyard at first, but then it's like, oh, this tire's a stage now.
Mhm.
Oh, these are literally catwalks now.
Right.
You know, like there's prosceniums and all sorts of stuff like that that you don't notice until the actors occupy
Well,
the space.
I can't imagine that John would be anything but super pleased to hear you say that, because a really successful theater design should not be complete until the event which it was intended to contain is happening.
Yeah.
Right?
That's cool.
So
I
you-
never
mean,
thought of it
So
like
you just
that.
nailed that. I mean, and sometimes there are set designs that you see where it's done. You've been told the story by the set. Good night,
Right.
everyone. Thank you very
Right.
much for coming. Same thing with costumers. Sometimes costumers will overdo. They'll try to tell the entire story, but theater's a
Right.
team sport. And if everybody is doing their exact right amount, that's when something interesting happens, a synthesis
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly how I would describe it. It felt like a synthesis once everything was happening on stage.
And that being said, I want to add this little fun fact, and I know you guys will agree with me. Because we are cats, we've had to like become feline on stage, and I have found myself off stage. Like people walk around like this and they talk like this, but cats don't do this. Cats go like this at all times. You'll never see a cat walk like
You all
this.
just did it at the same
But
moment.
I find myself going, hey,
Hey,
how are you? All the time. And I'm like, I'm a person.
I found
Hey.
a mouse in my apartment the other day and I hissed at it.
Did you really? Oh my
It
god.
just happens. Like you're like, hey.
So just to remind the audience, we have 2 microphones in either aisle, and if you have questions for the cast or for Hailei as well, please feel free to line up at these 2 mics. They're lit up right now, and I will, gesture to you in a moment to grab your questions as well. Okay?
Going
Right.
back to the original revival and what stuck and what isn't, there is the perfect balance, I think, of old and new. The opening number is, I would say, 95% original with the new choreography just layered into it. So it's great because those people that did see their first Broadway show with their grandfather, who are now bringing their granddaughter to see their first Broadway show, can say the opening number and be like, I remember that. I can see myself at 8 years old seeing the show, and then they can see how we've evolved and how we've adapted the show to be a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more,
Yeah.
I don't even want to say relevant because the old show would still be relevant
No,
right
Yeah.
I
now.
think the way Andy Blankenbuehler, who is our choreography, described it in the first week of rehearsals is he wanted the audience to feel like they were getting into a warm bath so that the show is familiar. So we didn't hit them with like some new production that was completely different of Cats. So we're giving them the original concept, the original choreography, and then he is taking that and making it more relevant because audiences are different than they were in 1982. We can multitask. We can do our iPad and our phone and watch TV all at the same time. So we are able to see a lot of different things on stage, and I think Andy incorporated that, but using the original choreography, but just making it more, I don't know.
Andy's sense of time is different
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
Gillian's. Gillian Lynn, the original
Yeah.
choreographer, has, I would say, you probably speak to it better as a dancer, but a longer sense of time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Andy has a subdivision of time
Yes,
in his head.
that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
And it's like also the storytelling. Andy was very keen on making sure we told that story. It's poetry. We are literally speaking poetry the entire night for 2.5 hours.
It's all T.S. Eliot.
So we need to tell the story. We can't just sit back and recite the poetry. And he wanted there to be relationships between cats that weren't necessarily established in the previous productions. And I think he did a really good job of really bringing the cats into the audience and making them understand the story more,
Totally.
you know?
Totally.
So I see that we might be at a good point over
Yeah.
here, yes?
Yeah, I think we're at a good place right now so you guys can all see what the basic features that we're looking for in the cat are. So I'm going to have you just stand this way so you can look at the audience.
Whoa!
So,
Yeah.
so what we have, yeah, thank you. You look awesome. So what we have is we have the muzzle, which is all down here, and what that highlight does is it really brings the face forward, which is like it makes the face look a little bit more feline. So we like to bring everything from there forward, and then we do the nose second. The nose is all dependent on each person's like actual nose. So for her, what I did is I made it a shorter nose and I brought it up a little bit. So from far away, it kind of makes that little triangle right through here in her face. Yeah.
There you are.
Look at that. And then we go down into the lip, and she has a kitten lip. Each person in the show has a different kind of lip depending on their character. This one is what we call our kitten lip. So all of our little kittens in the they all have this triangle type lip that really brings that focus forward. Then she has the little whisker pores here. And then we like to draw the eyes bigger. You know, we want them all to be like very big. So we actually do a dropped line, which makeup terms is called a ballerina line. And then you do a dropped line underneath with the white highlight to make it really pop. And then we take the cat eye out. And then we also extend the eyebrows because as a cat, you have fur. So what you want to do is you want to extend that out. And we try not to follow too much of the natural curve in her eyebrow because that's what makes you look really human. Just trying to flatten out the face. So we bring those lines up and we continue on past that arch. So you're like really making that face a little more flat. So that's what we would do for that basic cat. And then all of the other plots include going through with different colors and doing color blocking. And like Cory said, he has a lot of fur marks that match up with his wig. All of the wigs in our show are made from yak hair, actually. And we style ears into them. So like none of them they're all built below the ear. So you can't actually see the human ear from stage. They're all covered, and then you have the little cat ears on top. She has a great set of cat ears, which is awesome.
So what about when you're doing quick changes? Because as Christopher was saying, you know, he plays a lot of different cats, a lot of different cat roles, and he does his own makeup. But then how would you adjust this to be a different cat then?
That's an awesome question, and I'm actually going to do a demonstration on that in real time. So in one of our characters, he has about 1 minute and like 8 seconds or something like that to get into an entire new character. And what that means is he is running off stage as fast as he can, like taking off one unitard, putting on another unitard, taking off a wig, putting on a wig, and then we have a makeup artist who's there, and she's going to be doing this transformation that I'm going to show you right now. Yeah, you want to turn it? You want to sit there, or do you want to turn it?
What do you think?
You can turn it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so for this quick change, she's gonna become the Macavity cat, which is the villain cat. So she's gonna look a little evil. So runs off stage, pretend like we just took off wigs, took off costumes. We're going crazy over here. She's gonna go in, change the bottom of her muzzle to a different color. We're going to take this orange color. We're going to give her some orange fur marks. So fabulous.
Also, you should know that when this happens in the show, Daniel, who plays Macavity, who is absolutely spectacular, has just like done a number, and he is sweating and panting.
It's true.
And there's about 4 or 5 people working on him at this moment. And so
It's like NASCAR when a car pulls over.
it truly
One
is.
person waving
Yeah.
a fan,
Yeah.
trying to get him to cool off.
Yeah, oh, there's a fan going, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The show never stops. It's number after number after number after number after number. There's never really any moment of...
Yeah, because there are no book scenes, what we call book scenes in theater, where people are just standing around talking, because cats just don't stand around and talk.
No.
They sing and dance.
That's right.
Is what they do. So it is.
What did the
And
checks
now
do?
she's Macavity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That looks great.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You look so great.
So, Hailei, tell everyone like how everyone keeps their makeup on, like with not sweating it off. You don't have to do it, but
Absolutely. So we use a lot of powder in the show. And not only are we using powder to set the wigs, or set the makeup, but we're also using what we call final seal. So everyone will put on the different layers of makeup, and then we suggest that they powder during certain steps of the makeup. There is a certain point of blending that we need to do, and once you've set makeup, it doesn't really like to move. So there are very specific places that we like to use the powder. And then at the very end, once your wig is on,
and you've then, brought the fur marks from the wigs onto the makeup, we use a setting spray, and it's just like a small spray, and you spray it on, and then you powder it, and then it's like, it's set, it is
Doesn't
set
come
to
off.
stay. It's not going to move. We have some that are like waterproof, so you can literally jump into a pool, and those are for the very, very heavy sweaters. Cory, right there. And yeah, so we really focus on that kind of thing, making sure all of the makeup is set. Everyone does it a little differently because everyone's skin is different. So the makeup reacts differently with their skin, and then it's also really important before the show how they take care of their skin. So one thing that we suggest is like moisturizing, moisturizer. But you don't want to do it too close to the show because if it's on underneath of this makeup, it'll start running. So they're very specific, daily routines that these actors have had to adapt it to because of this. They've had to, change their moisturizer routine to like doing it early in the morning so they have about 4 hours for it to sit so the makeup doesn't slide and doesn't run everywhere. And then after the show, we give them what is called a hydro oil, and it's to like get all of the makeup off, and we suggest really taking care of your skin. I think it's probably been a huge adjustment, like having that much makeup on every single night because, people used to wearing makeup, but not this kind of makeup. We use like tons of different types of brands. We use like 5 different types of brands that are not everyday makeup. So these people are really, our actors are really, really great about taking care of their skin and just, being aware of it and how it's affecting their skin. And we try and do whatever we can to accommodate each skin type.
Yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor us, give us some facials. No, but like mud masks are like a daily, not daily, but it's become a regimen just to like.
Just to get it all out.
Just to get it all out and just to like
reset,
soothe my skin.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like I see you in a mud mask all the time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had to do that. Never in my
Yeah.
life. I could get away with washing my face once a day and be okay, and now I have to do a mud mask every so often. Sometimes I wish I could just have a
vat.
a vat of it and just stick my face there.
And not only are they wearing makeup on their face, but there's also glue. So to keep all of the wigs on, like I said, they're all wearing wigs that come down to here, and they're all dancing. So I'm actually with Cory every single day, which is awesome. And we do a wig prep, which consists of putting like a band on his head and then a wig cap, and then we pin the wig in, like because they're dancing. I mean, you've seen the show; they are dancing. So these wigs can't move. So we're pinning it on, and then we're actually gluing it to their face. We have what we call spirit gum, high spirits. And we glue it down, and we like get it really nice and tacky, and then it keeps the wig in place for the entire show.
So just, you guys, we still have a few more minutes if anyone does have a question, just to remind you. But I do have a couple more questions. If that's okay.
Yes.
And this is a big one for me because I saw Cats when I was very, very little. And then this is my first time seeing it as an adult.
Aw.
And I'm still confused about what is a jellicle cat exactly. Just, because you guys get up on stage and I feel like you tell us what jellicle, all these things about jellicle cats, and I'm still confused as exactly what that means.
Well, you're not really supposed to ever know.
Well, they've succeeded in that front.
Yeah, no, I would agree that's, I mean, Trevor Nunn certainly walked us through what a possible etymology of the word is, like how it came to be, how T.S. Eliot came up with the word, because he came up with the word.
Oh, okay.
He invented the word.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the definition of it, even though we spend an entire opening number telling you over and over again what we do, and what you can't do, that's
Yes.
the big construct of the opening number.
remember
We're
that
cats,
one.
we're fabulous, you're people, you suck, is kind of the opening
So.
Yeah.
construct. But at the end of it, I think like all good poetry, you should it's like a Rorschach test. I don't know. I would turn back to you and say, I don't know, what do you think a jellicle cat is?
Well, I mean, it seemed, I don't know, this was just my
How do you
interpretation.
feel about it?
Yeah.
It seemed like they were, like, if you were a jellicle cat, at the very least, you were a part of this family
Yes.
up on stage.
Mm-hmm.
But then past that, I was like, well,
Well, that's like
Maybe
being
I'm
a
not
part
meant
of
to
like
know.
a secret club or a secret society.
Okay.
You would
It's like,
never know, would you?
I'm going to
That's
tell
true,
you,
that's true.
but you're not going to get it.
Yeah, that's very much the opening statement,
Yeah.
isn't
I like
it? I'm going to
that.
tell you, but you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
That's a very cat thing to say.
It is a very, a dog would never say that to you.
No, no.
A dog would just explain it to you.
Dog would
for
say, "Here's the
99
deal."
years.
That's right.
Oh, and we do have a question from the audience.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
I would like to know about the rehearsal process. The show is all dancing. There is no spoken word in it, right? So was the rehearsal process any different for this as opposed to a regular show with much less dancing?
Like week 1.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We spent on, so our first day of rehearsal, we spent with the director, and he talked us through how they took a book of T.S. Eliot poems and made a musical with a plot about it. And then the next day, we spent about 4.5 hours with the director at the helm of the room, and he walked us through a cat improvisation where we were crawling around, and then he said, "Danger!" And we all were like, had to figure out how to physicalize a cat in danger.
And it was
Like-
4 hours.
On our
And
knee,
it was
like,
for real. I mean, it was.
And then we did it again.
Yeah.
yes.
The next day.
Like you look over and people are literally like licking their inner
Yeah.
thighs, and I mean it's full out. We're cats. So that was the first week of rehearsal.
And let me just, as how that's different than other shows. I mean, other shows that have scenes and book scenes where people stand around and talk, you would do like a week of what we call table work,
Yeah.
where you're kind of busting apart the text of the piece. Well, the text of this piece is cat movement.
Yeah.
The text of this piece is the choreography. The text of this piece is the score. So that's all we were working with.
Right. So I mean, we dove right into choreography right away. And a lot of cardio to get ourselves ready to sing a 10-minute opening number while dancing and singing the whole time.
And I think one of the reasons we got into choreography right away was he was testing ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was making changes to this, this accepted hit. And so he needed to hit the floor running in terms of dancing.
Absolutely.
To see if it worked.
Absolutely.
But also, I think it's important to state that, like, we were cats for the first few days of rehearsals, but we had to be, because if we didn't feel comfortable being a cat, then the show wouldn't work.
Right.
So we had to, like, fully embrace the fact that we're cats.
Right. We're not.
So we had to spend that much time, even though at first it was like, what are we doing?
Right. We have to transport the audience because we can't look like people dressed as cats, acting like cats. We have to be cats. Otherwise, the show doesn't read. People don't believe us. People wouldn't care that we're Jellicle cats and they're not. If we weren't fully
I cared.
invested and
I was
embodied.
Jellicle jealous.
Jellicle jealous?
Jellicle jealous.
There's the T-shirt. Merchandising.
Hashtag Jellicle jealous.
Yeah.
I think also to like branch that into the tech side of it, the tech side also had to embrace that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we also had to, like, you train to do like period hairstyles. Like for me, like I trained to do period hairstyles, and then somebody sets a wig in front of you and it's like, make it look like a cat, and you're like, what? Okay.
Sure.
And you just like you start doing it and you make these ears, and it's, I think for every department, we've really deconstructed the idea of what we do. And what's cool about it is that we're building something from ground up at this point. All of us, they aren't cats.
Right.
This is,
We're not recognizable as
Yeah.
anything that you
Right.
would normally see on stage.
and these wigs aren't normal hair for like the way we style it. So all of us are kind of building, and it's like this really cool process that we got to witness is like, you become a family. When everyone's starting from that square one place again, you become a tight family, a tribe, like we call it. And because everybody's doing it. Everybody's coming from that same place of really starting from the bottom and like working to figure out what it is that we're doing.
Totally.
So we have time for another question. We may have time for one more after that, guys, but we're running out. So what's your question?
Mine's really fast. I was wondering what the brand and the name of the setting spray uses, because I have really oily skin, so I could use some of that.
So we actually use two different ones. There's a Ben Nye, which is just called Final Seal.
Okay.
And then the other one is a brand that you can get at like an Alcone store. It's called Marble, green marble or blue marble. The blue marble is what you can like swim in, and the green marble is a little less intense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Practical advice. Oh, we have one over here too.
Oh, wait, hold on one sec. He'll help you out.
Thank you. I was wondering, does the spirit gum hurt and sting? Because in my production of Crazy for You, I had to wear a mustache, and I had to put on spirit gum, and it stung
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Hailei puts a mustache on me every single night,
do.
and every single night I have to take it off. I choose to rip it off just in one
Same with
moment.
me.
But what's always true, right? I don't know if you played your show long enough, how long your run was, but I find that it takes 2 weeks for my lip to go, oh, we're doing this again, are we? And then it toughens up, literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
your skin
that's
really
this
adapts.
ear too.
Right here.
This is the strongest part of my face.
For the first 2 weeks, like, for the first 2 weeks, you have like splotches of red, and someone's like, what have you done to yourself? And then after that, it's like,
fine.
we're good.
Let's see if we can get one more. What's
You
your
got one over here
question?
to your left. Don't miss over here.
Oh, I won't miss you.
Um,
We can try to get through these last few people, but no more after this, guys, okay? Go ahead.
my question is, you said, Cory, that the person you work with for the other twin cat you graduated college, was it, with?
Yeah.
Do you think they did that on purpose so that you would be able to be like in sync with the other person?
Well, I will say this. I found out that I was the twin, and she was actually being auditioned as another cat, the white cat, Victoria. She auditioned 7 times for that cat.
Wow.
After I had already found out that I booked my cat. So even I was sitting, knew I had booked cats, and she was still going through 7 rounds of auditions. And then finally the choreographer looked at me and he was like, she has to be your twin. She has to be your twin. It just makes
There was no other choice.
There was no other choice. It makes so much sense because we had been in the studio together with the choreographer to help create some of the movement for the show, and he just saw how we worked together, and he was like, "It's just so obvious. You guys have to be twins." So that's how that.
Thank God he made that decision.
happened.
Quick question?
No.
We will be here afterwards if you want to ask then, okay?
I
have a quick
I a meeting
question?
Afterwards.
Yeah. If you could be any other cat, what would it be?
I would be a cat named Ballerina. She
Yeah, you
she is just the most fierce
Fierce.
cat ever. In her costume, she's got just so many feminine lady, and I love her. I can't say
So would you say that she is what you would consider the best cat?
no.
No.
Well, that's correct. She's not the best cat because my cat's the best cat. Can you please just, I gave them a picture.
Oh, really?
I did. No, I'm not joking.
Oh.
That's Mistoffelees.
Right? Isn't she? Okay, so her name is Little Kitty, and
Hey, Little
now
Kitty.
she's on YouTube. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I would be the Rum Tum Tugger.
Yeah.
Would you?
He's the rock and roll cat, and he just wails. He has a great costume, and it's a fun cat.
I'd pick Gumby Cat because she has the big tap number, and I
Yes.
love that. Yeah.
I'd pick
you?
Gus because I like being real dramatic.
What do you mean?
So Cory,
Yeah.
as the dance captain, you were telling us about how you keep track of all the different things that everybody does on stage at any time. And I know that you did a class here, actually, at Google. Can you give us, I think we have some of the music here, so would you mind showing us some of the moves?
Are you
that
gonna
were teaching
dance?
everybody?
I'll give you that.
But
Give us a
Cory.
I'll give you all a little bit of the opening number. Can I hand that to you?
Totally.
Okay, sure.
Okay, all right, good.
This is festive.
Oh, that's so good.
We need to scoot back.
No.
Just a little.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can.
Let's give you your space.
Right? So this is a little bit of the opening number. This is when we're telling them all the great things about Jellicle cats and all the crappy things about the humans. So.
Have you been in alumnus of heaven and hell? Are you mean like a minx? Are you mean like a minx?
Are you keen to be seen when you're smelling a rat? Were you there when the pharaohs commissioned the Sphinx? If you were and you are, you're a Jellicle cat. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. 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 We can dart through the air like a flying trapeze. We can turn double somersaults, bounce on a tire. We can run up a wall, we can swing through the trees.
Y'all are hired.
I told him, I said, you guys have 5 shows this weekend. You know that. right?"
Congratulations.
Wow. That took me like 3 months to learn that.
That's really great.
What a plot.
Hilarious.
Those were your coworkers, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to point that
You're
out.
working with good people.
Yeah, I mean, Google.
Yeah, let's give them another hand. So everybody, that about wraps up the time that we have for this afternoon. So Cats is showing at the Neil Simon Theater here in New York City. For tickets and more information about the show, check out their website, catsthemusical.com. And can you please give another round of applause for these wonderful people here?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having